Hey everybody, Jazzy here. Here's the recap for year 21 of Thrill of the Grill, my solo Warley world over on Twitch. Beginning of autumn, I finally get to harvest some more of the leafy meat that I've been longing for all summer. I was afraid to hop onto the boats because once you leave the sandstorm, anything near you is subject to wildfires. If it did happen, then one of the lure plants would get the smolder, and I have a very strong reason not to want to rebuild these boats. The collision box for lure plants was recently fixed, so you can't place them as closely together as you could before. This means I wouldn't be able to fit nearly as many lure plants onto a single boat anymore, so these boats are not getting touched. Hopefully they don't drift away and explode. I'm not even being ironic. Okay, I am officially adding a fourth dish to my food bundle. I currently keep meaty stew, moqueca, and glowberry mousse, but now I'm gonna add honey ham. It's a strong dish. It's pretty decent for hunger and health, and it spoils slower than the other foods I keep in here. So considering I've got plenty of meat, I feel like I should put more of it to good use and actually use the honey from this biome of a bee park that I've built. I was starving while catching this fish. I kept telling myself that it wasn't worth it, but after catching, I saw that it definitely was. Dappled koi only spawn during seasonal events, so this is the only time I will be able to catch some unless I want to activate the event later. Day 1404, I am building a boat off the coast of the Mosaic biome, and I'm gonna go sailing to pick up a few more seaweed starters from a patch of seaweeds I spotted earlier. My workflow is to fish during the day and then start smacking the seaweeds at night. You can stunlock a seaweed any time of day, but the problem is nearby seaweeds will spot you and start attacking, so you have to wait until they're all sleeping before you can start to take them down. The first night I was a pretty efficient killer, and I got 5 starters by the end of the night. I probably cut the last one a little closely because it was about to be day and I would have been so screwed in this spot. The second night didn't go so well. I waited until night, but I should have waited until all the seaweeds hang their heads down, showing that they're asleep. Instead, I just started smacking away as soon as night fell, and the nearby seaweed that hadn't fallen asleep yet started shooting at me. I was able to back off, but it cost me a lot of boat patches and health. So I took that as a sign that I was done for now. Honestly, hanging around these things always ends up traumatizing me somehow. So on day 1407, I'm back near my base planting the new seaweeds. After about 2 days of planting a starter on a sea stack, it will grow into a sprout, and then on the next full moon, it will turn into a fully grown seaweed. We got a shark spawned out here, and he immediately started going at one of the seaweeds, which aggroed all the nearby seaweeds too. I would have been content to let them duke it out, except the shells are poking holes in my boats, so I need to help him kill a shark. I used the Strident Trident to keep the sharks aggro because I can't do any damage unless he's attacking me. It's just really risky with all the seed shells flying around. Finally, I killed the guy, but one of the boats is gonna sink because of those holes. Traumatic ocean experiences are really not a rare occurrence in this game. Well, I'm all out of tissue, so instead I'm going to wipe my tears away with a spectacular box from Pearl. This is a really nice way of keeping all your fishing gear neatly organized. It's a 15 slot container and will store basically anything that acts as fishing tackle. This includes floats and lures, so I could free up all that chest space that was dedicated to spoons and spinnerbaits. I could even store stuff like rot, berries, twigs, seeds, whatever I could use for fishing. Day 1411, I have my first successful Moonstone event with the Varg. Last time I messed up because the Varg was not aggroed on me. And this is important because I want the Varg to summon more waves of hounds during the event, and it will only continue summoning hounds if it's targeting me. But yeah, this farm is shaping up to be a real success. I can't wait to get all 4 Vargs in here and really start producing Moonrock. I'm building a road all the way to the Moonstone from my base. It's not that far of a trip. I just need to travel to the wormhole in the deciduous forest, and that takes me to the triple Mactusk biome right next to the Moonstone forest. Building roads are one of the first things I do when I'm trying to build in new areas because they show where I'll be traveling frequently and inspire me to build more in the land that we see on the way. I will be heading back to the Moonstone a lot, so it'll be nice to eventually start building between there and Oasis. If you ever run out of building ideas in your world, try building a road somewhere. Deerclops came around day 1422. I didn't have my Bee Queen crown on me, so I was definitely losing sanity. But there is a trick to fighting Clops without losing sanity as quickly as you typically do. The reason you lose sanity so fast with her is because as you attack her, she walks right on top of you, so you're standing right in the center of her sanity aura. If you take a step back after she stops walking, then you can position yourself slightly away from the center of the aura, and this will dramatically reduce the sanity drain. I'd give this a try if you struggle with the sanity loss of fighting Deerclops. Shout out to Guile, who demonstrated this trick in a recent video. If you have not heard of Guile, go check out their channel immediately for a really nice collection of boss fights, ruins rushes, and general DST tips. Day 1423, I'm hunting for Vargs, and we encounter the final boss of the game. A yucas. I'm not being overly dramatic. This mob gives me as much trouble as bosses. It spews mucus at you that leaves you completely defenseless for a long time, and then you free yourself for about 3 seconds before it spews at you again. I got it in my head that I could just freeze it and blow it up with gunpowder. In single player this would have worked, but here the gunpowder just thawed it back out and it proceeded to absolutely obliterate me. Second legit death of the run. I waited for it to walk away so I could use the life-giving amulet, then I remembered, oh yeah, reviving puts mobs to sleep. So I used the amulet and the yucas fell asleep. Legit death number 3, and the float of shame back to the base. Okay, here's how you really fight the final boss. Give a pig more meat than he can handle and bring him to the turf war. You'll still take damage, but at least your bro will help to free you from the phlegm balls. Trajan fought valiantly, and revenge is pretty goddamn sweet. I can't wait to not go on hunts anymore. These assholes are the main reason I rarely touch a suspicious dirt pile after day 100. Day 1427 we kill Kloss, and I'm blocking another spawner in the deciduous. I'm thankful that the loot stash always spawns in the center of tiles, which makes placing the blocking structure a lot easier after the sack gets opened. But yeah, at this point in the run, I'm just blocking off all the Kloss spawners until we get the stash spawning consistently at one spot. And then I can decorate it. Day 1431, I'm doing a werepig harvest, and I have a new method for farming them. It's a super duper endgame strategy that involves not 1, not 2, but 3 separate bone armors. Basically, I equip 1 bone armor, then place the other 2 in my 2nd and 3rd inventory slot, and then I fill up the rest of my inventory with items. After every hit, I swap bone armors, and by alternating between the hotkeys for those 2 inventory slots, I can effectively rotate all 3 bone armors. 2 would not be enough to absorb all the hits, because werepigs can hit faster than twice within 5 seconds. Day 1432, I'm making a boat that's going to function purely for the storage of live ocean fish. This area down from the bee park, I want to eventually use for fish display. So I want to be able to hold on to the live fish until I can make all of the fish scale-o-matics. Hey look, another shark! I'm gonna need therapy after this year. Sharks can really catch you off guard, and they are very, very dangerous. But here's how you fight them. Put some armor on, lure them to one side of the boat. After they land, hit them 1 to 2 times and then back off as they start to chomp. After they turn around to jump off the boat, sometimes you can sneak in an extra hit. But just make sure they don't do their triple chomp again. Sometimes they can chain these attacks over and over again, so just make sure that they turn to jump off before trying to hit them again. Adding this furnace to the seaweed area was a nice quality of life improvement. You always want to cook your barnacles as soon as you harvest them, because they last more than twice as long in cooked form. Back home, I'm weighing the fish in my tin bins, just to figure out which fish are worth keeping and which I should cook up. I stumbled across this beauty of a lionfish, weighing in at 301.86. Now, I don't know if this was meant to be kilos or pounds, but 300 pounds is like a baby elephant, and 300 kilos is the weight of a bear. I don't know. Ounces? Whatever. The point is, lionfish only go to 302.32, so this is very close to a perfect lionfish. So I'm gonna cook it into meatballs. What? I'm kidding. Seriously, the extra fish is going into fish cordon bleu. I've had these frog legs bundled up for the longest time. It sucks that I can't use barnacles to make this dish, but okay, I'll use the ocean fish. This spring I went on a Moose-Goose rampage. I'm just about out of weather pains, and I can't have that. Fortunately, our world generated with a quad Moose-Goose biome just outside of the swamp. Now, I'm not looking for any epic boss moments here, so I'm just throwing on bone armor and going to town with the Morning Star. Yes, Warley forgot the goat jelly. Not me. Warley. You can tank Moose and swap between 2 bone armors to completely negate the damage. After every 4 attacks, she'll honk at you and knock your weapon away. You can avoid this by just taking the weapon out of your inventory slot right before the honk, and then put it right back and keep swinging. That way you don't have to chase after your weapon. Moose has 6,000 HP, so it's nice to be able to move through this fight as quickly as possible. After about 2 days of wildlife abuse, we return home with 59 down feathers. I can use these with construction amulets to make 11 weather panes. Works for me. I'm getting ready for another Fuelweaver run, so first we gotta grab a Shadow Atrium. I started the Shadow Pieces fight, but because of the Volt Goat Jelly, I killed the Knight before the other 2 Shadow Pieces could spawn, so they didn't all upgrade. I had to scramble to kill them all off, quickly reassemble the statues, and restart the fight. I was lucky that it was a longer night and I hadn't waited until later to start the first fight, otherwise I would have been screwed. What better follow-up to that sloppy AF chess piece fight than a sloppy AF Fuelweaver fight? First, I forgot to drop the thermals before the fight, so I had to do that after starting. That was no big deal, but then when he started summoning, I realized that my inventory slots were not set up correctly. Instead of swapping to a weather pane, I found myself just swapping between my 2 bone armors. Fuelweaver watched me, kinda shrugged, and then chomped down on like half a dozen woven shadows. You know, I'm very fortunate to be playing as a character with an insane damage modifier. Otherwise, this fight would have cost a lot more resources because of that goof. Now, this will be the first time resetting the ruins since moving the chests over to the new station, and I'm really curious to see if any of the respawned clockworks had destroyed a chest. Turns out they respawned beautifully on either side of the chests, which is awesome. Still, I want to move these clockworks somewhere where I won't have to deal with them every time I reset the ruins. Now, Splorange made a guide on how to change the home location of damaged clockworks, which is a real nice trick for moving clockworks out of the way and making your ruins clearing a lot safer. Unfortunately, that video has since been made private, so I'm just winging it. Pretty sure I messed it up because I put them to sleep and moved them, but then I just killed them when they woke up. I think that I misunderstood, that their home locations can be moved, but spawning locations can't. So next time I try this, I'm gonna move them without killing. Then shut down the server and see if that sets a new home location. Ancient Guardian dead in less than 2 minutes. God, I love Warley in Spring. The loot was a pickaxe and a whole bunch of thulecite. Hell of a step up from an ice staff and orange gems. And now I have the last half of Spring to start clearing the ruins. I'm not even using an eyebrow for this, just smashing a fish cordon bleu if needed. And this is why the dish is so much more powerful than Warley's other dishes that provide seasonal protection. Because rains are intermittent. You don't need constant rain protection throughout spring. And provided the ambient temperature isn't too low, the only time rain poses a threat is when your wetness gets above 35. So until then, Warley can just run around in the rain, and if the rain gets real intense, eat a fish cordon bleu as needed. Even if it doesn't last until the end of the rain, your wetness will start back at 0, and will take another few minutes to climb back to 35. If it even makes it. By contrast, spicy dragon chili and asparagus gazpacho require continuous eating in order to protect you from the ambient temperature, so they're a bit less of a fully sustainable option. By the end of spring, all clockworks in the ruins have been killed. Now, I get to spend the first part of summer just clearing all the statues and broken clockworks. Very peaceful ruins trip, all things considered. I'm back at the station, and just this once I tried wearing the bone helm while crafting. Yes, it protects you from nightmares, but you end up with half a dozen nightmares running around you, and it's hard targeting chests without accidentally attacking one of them. Plus, when it's time to leave, I need to, take it off, and all of them will instantly turn on me. Plus, I'll still be completely insane. Yeah, I don't know. I guess if you're working around the set piece, it might be more convenient than vacating every nightmare phase, but for me, I'd much rather kill 1 or 2 shadow creatures and keep a bee queen crown nearby to restore sanity. End of summer, I'm back upstairs. I probably could have just fed antlion trinkets for a few days, but I just killed her instead. Could have sworn I was gonna get a hound wave during the fight, but I got lucky. I must have just missed a wave on the surface when I came back up. Last line of business for the year is to evict the beefaloes from our event set piece. It was a fun event. We unlocked all the outfits and got a beefalo sketch. But now, they're reproducing and threatening my nearby gecko pen. So I'm just gonna grab them all and lead them to the Houndius. Y'all remember the old beefalo from the Gorge event? Some of those slaughter tools prompts came back to me right here. Gently disembowel, softly eviscerate, gingerly slaughter? Hey, at least it's the Houndiest doing the dirty work. I don't need any naughtiness points. But that's it for year 21. Next time, we will grab more Vargs for the Moonstone farm, we will move the world into the March Quality of Life beta branch, and we will kill our very first Tier 3 Shadow Knight. Hope you enjoyed the recaps, and maybe next time you can catch us live over on Twitch. Take care. What's up, Joe? How's it going? Joe, you wanna know what I think of your Beefalo events? That's what I think about your Beefalo events.